What's up, everybody? Doesn't look like I'm going to have enough internet to stream tonight. I have no idea why. I was just telling Dave, I think one thing I need to do is break everything down and put it back together and then call the cable company again. I don't know. They told me I needed to get a new modem. Obviously, that has not fixed anything. It's frustrating. This is not at all what was going on last week, if you could even hear me. But last week it was completely different problem with my cameras and Discord, so I just got frustrated with that. But yeah, this is also frustrating to try and pay all this money to Spectrum and have nothing work as usual. But you know, so YouTube is not receiving enough data. It's still saying so. Now we'll give it a little bit, see what happens. Gonna be a shorter one tonight, regardless. I have to be up early. I have a few shoots tomorrow, so yeah, we'll see. Let me know if it's even worth going, if the audio's coming through. So the audio's coming through, Pudgy. Good.
Large Imesh became a member. Large Imesh celebrates 54 months of membership. Underscore tuna boat colon underscore hot ben. Orangutan emoji. Rhinoceros emoji. Rat emoji. Honeybee emoji. Melon emoji. Banana emoji. Banana emoji. Banana emoji. Banana emoji. Underscore tuna boat.
Underscore tuna boat. I got to take that out of it. I must have accidentally put that in the description of when I put that emoji on there. So yeah, got to get that out of there. What's up, everybody? What's up, Naptown? Dirty Spokes. Nate the Great. Oh, so the audio is coming through, so yeah, we'll go for a while. Like I said, my plan tonight was to chat for about an hour. I had no actual plan, as I needed to take a test portrait today for a portrait I was doing later, so I just grabbed Edmund and I was like, well, that's a good enough title. What's up, Blaine? What's up, Clunky? Yeah, so I'm hoping, Party Size is on vacation this week, so I'm hoping just to do the topic next week, and I don't know, I'll spend some time trying to get things in order for that. I still cannot figure out what was going on. It made no sense. I'm not going to dive into it, but I talked to one of my friends who, like, tech is what they do for a living, fixing computers, and they're like, yeah, there's nothing. Sometimes stuff just doesn't make sense and it doesn't work, and that's what it was. So, who else did I miss in here? Cactus Chiller, how's it going? Box Hill, what's up? Box Hill, are you back at home? Are you from your trip to Chicago? What's up, Dimitri? What happened? Why can't I see the bottom of the chat? Come on. There we go. Ricochet, how's it going? Susan? William LeBron? Yeah. Get it in quick. Brooke Saddle, what bars do you use? Right, just speaking of channel stuff, so if you guys saw the last video, I had brought up the whole thing about how, so I kept it short because I didn't want to dwell on it, but J.D. Vance, the vice president, came to town to golf. He tied up traffic all over town just so he could go to Firestone Country Club and golf. And he didn't go anywhere else. He didn't stop at our restaurants. He didn't come into downtown Akron or anything. But then he said downtown Akron and downtown Canton are lawless. So he's a fucking liar. He's a piece of shit. So I said that pretty much, but kept it a little simpler. But he is. He's an absolute liar. Downtown Akron is statistically the safest neighborhood in all of Akron, but that doesn't even matter. It's just not lawless. It's not a problem. All my videos are me riding my bike all over Akron. How often do we have problems with this lawlessness? But of course, it's just a pretext for their, fascism and their bullshit. It's the same thing. By every single metric, the crime has been going down in D.C., but they just lie about that so they can put troops on the street. It's just straight up authoritarianism. It's the least American, the least democratic thing you could possibly do. And so I said that in the video, and so my subscribers, I said in the Discord, I'm kind of taking out the trash. So they've been going down all week since that video came out. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the views are still where they always are. But yeah, just all that to say, if you are not a subscriber, maybe subscribe to kind of just show that, love and diversity are way better than hate and fear, and fuck Trump, fuck J.D. Vance. Those guys are absolute just the worst. So, and if you're here and you support those guys, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong place. I could hang out with people who have different politics than me, but I can't hang out with people who believe in authoritarianism and liars and homophobics and racists and xenophobics, and they are all of those things. And if they aren't those things in their hearts, they say them out loud and they stoke that flame in the people who are those people. So, yeah, come and talk shit about my town. I'm going to tell you to fuck off, especially when you're a liar. So, a complete lie. It's a complete baseless lie. So, yeah, there's that. So, if you need to unsubscribe, you can do that. I'll block you if you want to sit here and call me names and stuff. So, I have no problem with any of that stuff. So, anyways. Oh, what's up, Aaron? You said you came for the cat? He's here. Look at this guy. Just passed out. Can I make this focus? Well, there we go. Not a lot. I mean, he's a black cat. So. And this is one thing I love about using the Pocket. I have that. It's on the gimbal, so I can move it around. I don't know if I've done this. I don't have any lights on over there, but I could completely flip the camera the other way and everything. So I used that in a video I have coming out. I did use this one a little bit now in it, and it looks so great. The problem just with shooting like bike videos with the Pocket 3 is the form factor. It's just not good for being able to ride bikes very well and hold it. So you'd have to mount it somewhere, but unless you mount it on your helmet, like the vibrations are really bad with the gimbal. So I just haven't really used it that much, and then I'm always worried about messing up the gimbal with the kind of riding we do. But yeah, that's kind of where it's at. But there's certain times, like I did bike party and all that stuff, so that it works out when it's on a chill ride. It looks really good. What's up, Farley? What's up, Bayard? What happened to the Cary Furnace Trail? The railroad spread ballast all over the trail. Drink water. So, Rubat said, as a DC area resident, I approve of this anti-administration ranting. Yeah. I mean, like, it's like, okay, like what I said in the video is 100% true. So, if you're going to unsubscribe, which is fine, like, I don't care. But, like, what's your argument? Like, you can't, like, you have no argument. Like, there isn't a crime problem in downtown Akron. So, it's a blatant lie that everybody knows who is around here. But again, it's just racism. It's just playing on that, and it's just a pretext to eventually make worse things happen. So, yeah, Naptown. Yeah, there's. Like I said, I mean, like, I'm not trying to pretend like Akron or other cities in the country are all perfect, but or don't have areas that are worse than others. But yeah, Akron's a pretty safe place. There's not a single place in Akron that I wouldn't go during the day. There might be a couple places where I wouldn't just go wandering around for no reason at night, but that's the world, like, right? So. But there's no place I wouldn't ride my bike at night either, so, as you guys have seen. So it's not that dangerous. And I just, also the idea of, like, randomized crime is just not really an issue anymore. Like, what are they going to do, steal my encrypted iPhone? No one has cash on them. You know what I mean? Like, when crime is happening, it's usually domestic or, Pudgy said he lost audio. But, yeah, it's usually either, it's domestic or it's drug deals going bad. It's, stuff like that. So. Let me know if the audio's back. Like, I'm not seeing anything be wrong here, so I don't have any. Ah. Huh. It's weird. Nothing looks bad on my end. Maybe Google's gonna shadow ban me. Yeah, nothing looks weird over here, so I don't know. Now a couple people texted me, so there's definitely an issue. So texted me outside of the chat, so we're back. Good. Anyways, you didn't miss much. I'm just ranting more.
Yeah, come for the cats. Stay for the downward political rant spiral.
Pudgy still doesn't have audio, but other people are telling me they could hear it fine. So I don't know what's going on. I know, 3.5 more years. It's going to be rough. I mean, I don't think I'll live that long, but, you know. Yeah. JD saw a video of me going through a red light on a empty street and was appalled by the lawlessness. Yeah, a couple people made some pretty funny comments on that video about that stuff, like, oh, look at the lawlessness. This guy's riding the wrong way down the bridge. You know? Oh, a guy in Canada wearing a mega hat? I don't. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Pudgy. It was the same thing. Fear mongering in Springfield, Ohio. That was the whole. If you guys remember, that was actually another Ohio city with they're eating the cats and the dogs lies. So. Yeah, that was Edmund. Yeah, this is the Pocket 3 that I'm doing this on. And it's the one thing I'm going to say out loud just for myself. I want to use this as a cutaway camera on my video shoot tomorrow, so I need to remember to take it upstairs with me and make sure it's fully charged after this stream. It looks so good. I mean, you guys aren't seeing it right now because you're watching a jumpy stream, but it's just incredible. When I was just in New York on Long Island filming with some friends for their company, the last time we had filmed together, I brought a Pocket 3. And we ended up using it for a couple things. And then when they saw it, I guess they have 3 Pocket 3s at that company now. They were like, oh, these are great. And they're doing some of their interviews with the wireless mic, like, and everything. So yeah, they're awesome. See where we're at. That's my favorite everyday camera. Yeah, I was talking to, I was doing some work in Cleveland with the company that Terry Berenson does some freelance camera op work for, and I got to chat with him a little bit about it. And so he was telling me, I couldn't figure out how he was using it, but he said he was wearing it on his helmet and then using his phone to control it. So that would work really cool for certain things, but again, the real off-roady stuff, that's still just where the GoPro shines. And most of my rides, I never know when I'm going to hit the off-road, but I should start just throwing it in the bag more often, and when I have the chance to use it, using it. Have I heard of RagBri? Yes, I've heard of RagBri. So throw that in there with the, no offense, bud, but it's always Brooks saddles, what handlebars do you use, and have you ever ridden RagBri? Those are the 3 most common questions on the channel. So, and then people tell me when I bring them up that questions are like come up over and over again, I should make a video about it. I have a whole video about the handlebars on my bikes, putting them on there, installing them, and then it doesn't matter every video someone asks. That's just how YouTube works. You know, like I said, people just watch through the algorithm, so I get it. It is what it is. But yeah. I ride all kinds of bikes, but in general I ride a gravel bike, so. It's just so weird that some people lose audio more than one and everything else not lose them. I have no idea how that could happen. So, Farley, is this a question for me? Do me a favor and update us when the trailhead at the Lincoln building reopens. What does that mean? Or are you not asking me that question? Because I don't even know what the Lincoln building is. I have not taken Edmund on any more rides with me. So one of the things that I've noticed, so Edmund, when I used to take him on the rides, every ride I think except one, he would poop in the trailer. And I was like, why would you do that? Why would you want to ride with poop? So when we got wherever we were, I'd clean it out because I always had a blanket in the bottom so I could at least take it out, wipe it on the grass or whatever. And then when I took him to the vet for his yearly checkup, he pooped on the floor at the vet. And so I think it's a nervous reaction. So I think maybe I was wrong and he was not enjoying the trailer, even though he seemed to be up and looking around and he wasn't shaky or meowing or anything like that. So I thought he was really liking being in the trailer, but that thing made me think that he doesn't. So I don't know. So I've kind of given up on that idea. I wouldn't mind doing it now that the temperatures are cooler. This summer was just way too hot. Like, I took him out last summer on a hot day and he was panting, so I was like, I'm not putting a black cat out in the heat. So even like we do go out back in the garden, but I wait till it's evening and it's getting a little cooler. So maybe I'll try it now that the temperatures have. I mean, like it feels like a flip switch didn't want it to fall.
Oh yeah,
like
overnight.
Yeah. So no, he hasn't gone on any more rides. I might try it again, but if I do and he poops in the trailer, that'll probably be the last one. So
Farley's talking about the Freedom Trail.
Oh,
that's where it currently terminates. That building there is the Lincoln
that's
building.
The Lincoln building. Yeah, Lincoln building. Yeah, I think it's going to be a little while because they are building a bridge over the train tracks and everything, and I don't think they're going to reopen it till that's totally finished. Do you have any insights on that? I assume that's
they're still getting. No, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be open till at least sometime in the spring, to be honest. But you could just go. You could just pick the Freedom Trail up at Union instead. You just go down behind that warehouse building on the other side. So. Oh, Bad Bird content said the Kerry Furnace. That's right. I do know what the Kerry Furnace is because, like, you're right. We rode there in Pittsburgh. Yeah, but I'm not from Pittsburgh, so he's got your answer for you. Couch. I'll give another Edmund shot since I did put him in the thumbnail. He hasn't moved at all. Still laying here with his little arm hanging off. Stop signs were invented for cars. Yeah, it's funny how people get so on my case about the stop sign thing. I sometimes I understand what the GoPro looks like. Like, say, when I run a red light at the end of the Y bridge, it looks like I'm going across this big road that might be really dangerous or whatever. But, like, stop signs in neighborhoods, like, you guys stop at a stop sign in a neighborhood when there's no cars. Like, you stop and sit there and then restart every single time. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I just can't imagine doing that. Like, I look, and if there's no cars coming, I keep going, and I'm on a bike, so I'm not going to hurt anyone. The point of cars is that, like, when you're in a neighborhood, you're going to run over a cat or a kid on a tricycle, or not that anyone rides a tricycle anymore. But what do you call those push bikes? Little dandy horse things. But yeah, I don't know. So I just don't really. It's so weird to me that people are like, you ran a stop sign. It's like, I don't even consider stop signs. You're right. I do. I run 20 stop signs on every ride. Who cares? And the red light thing on busy roads. This is another thing that I think some people maybe just don't understand. It's safer if I keep moving at speed for me. Like, if I stop and then have to try and cross a busy road from a startup, one, I have no speed to get across the road. But also, some of those roads I'm crossing, I want to maintain my speed on the other side. It's just like merging onto a freeway. You know that annoying person in front of you who's doing 40 and constantly looking over their shoulder instead of getting up to 65 and seamlessly merging over it? That's how I feel on my bike. The faster I'm going, in certain situations, the safer I am, in a lot of situations. So, I don't know. I know the law is that bikes are supposed to follow the same laws as cars. I don't care. They're not considering us when they wrote that. My safety and my ability to keep moving on my bike rides is my priority. I thought it was really funny on one of the videos. Someone said, I ride 4,000 miles a year and I've never broken a traffic law. I stop at every stop sign. And I wrote back, I ride closer to 7,000 miles a year, and it's probably because I don't waste my time sitting at all those stop signs. So,
see, that's a very valid point with the red lights, but depending on the intersection, I disagree with like stopping. I see it all the time in Merriman, bottom of Portage and Merriman Road.
Portage and Merriman. Oh, like that. Like
right by the tracks there, where the BP is.
5 different yeah.
Right. To make that full stop and then just go. It's like, dude, that's just, I don't care even if you know that intersection. That's just straight up dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Down there, I usually actually, depending on where I'm coming from, there's a lot of times where I'm coming off the towpath, and I actually cross with the sidewalk, not even with the
Right.
traffic, because it's so chaotic. And they have those super dangerous. It's great when you're in a car, because I drive to my parents this way. When you're
The
coming,
continuous
the
turns.
continuous turns,
Yeah.
but continuous turns, like in an area that they're trying to make for more pedestrians and bike friendly, are one of the
Right,
worst designs
right.
ever. Like again, they're designed to keep traffic moving, but that's dangerous for everyone else. And there's like a new brewery across the street, and there's a
Yeah.
towpath there. That's just such a horrible design. So, yeah. I pooped in worse. Everyone's asking about the cat. The problem is Edmund's down here. I mean, I'll show him a couple more times, but I mean, he's here. I'm petting him. There's not really a good angle for a cat on a lap on a live stream. Should we like do it from the couch next time? We'll like sit like I'll sit like in repose with the
Need
cat on.
need an Edmund cam.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could set up the GoPro to be a separate Edmund cam. Oh man, Edmund is sweepy. Stop signs at busy intersections are for practicing half-assed track stands. That is so funny because me and Aaron are 100% those people every time, and we both get like a little bit better, but neither of us came from like track bikes or BMX or anything like that. So neither of us are great, but we both comically try track stands nonstop. When people don't do it, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, exactly. I just agree with that sentiment. It's like, yeah, stop signs are for trying to do track stands. Like that's what you should be practicing at them. And then the problem with though is cars. If it's a four-way, hey, where are you going? If it's a four-way and you're trying to track stand and you're just slightly rolling, a lot of times cars won't go then because they think it means you're not going to stop. But it's like, no, I'm already stopped. If I was going, I would be doing 20 miles an hour or 15 miles an hour or whatever. But yeah.
Now, when you come up to an intersection, do you try to time it? Like in that scenario, that you're not even pulling up to the stop sign until the car's there?
Oh, you mean slow down so they will.
So
keep
it's
going.
obvious, like they'll.
I try that sometimes, but you just never know what a car driver's going to
Right.
do. Because so many times you come to a complete stop and then they wave you on. It's like, thanks for the sentiment, but you didn't like at this point just go. Especially if you're going my way. Like if they're going to turn and go my way, don't wave me on because now
Yeah,
you just
get
have
in
to
front of me,
pass
right.
again. Like you didn't help anyone. I'm sorry. I get that you were trying to be nice. Yeah, I really hate that. Oh, Strider bikes. Yeah, that's what they're called. Maya said, "You've really bolstered my interest in cycling. I'm going to get fitted next week." Oh, nice. Awesome. What's up, Michigan biker? I know, everywhere does need an Idaho stop law. If you don't know what an Idaho stop is, it's basically as long as you look and there's no traffic coming, you could keep going on your bike. Just like it's basically... I haven't read the actual law in a long time, but it's basically like yield. Bikes can treat stop signs like yields if no one's coming. But the whole thing is, I wish we had the law, but we don't need it. I passed a police officer today on my way back from picking up some stuff from Aaron's, and he was sitting there, and I rolled the stop sign in the parking lot, and then I was going to make a right-hand turn out onto the road, out of the parking lot, and I knew there was a cop there, and I still didn't stop. I'm like, he's not going to pull me over for this, you know? Like, there's usually some other weird pretext if you're breaking the law or you're doing something on your bike. I've never been pulled over just straight up for traffic laws. It's because they want to talk about something else, like in the one video. Like, he said supposedly there was someone who was jumping off the bridge, and it was... I don't know. It was his job to go check it out, and if he talked to us, then he could go back and say he talked to two people. You know, that was it. It had nothing to do with us being on bikes or anything like that. Then he just gave us stupid advice. So, oh yeah, we're getting roundabouts like for the last number of years all over here. It really depends on which one. Some of them I kind of like. Some are weird. Like there's downtown, they put a separated bike lane, elevated bike lane, you know, separated whatever up on a curb. But when you go through like the roundabout, I would rather just be in the roundabout because the bike lane then curves to go around the roundabout, and people coming off the roundabout, then the whole point is to keep moving, are not going to pay attention to the bike lane. So there's certain cases where, and just with all traffic laws, where bike lanes separated or not, I'm going to jump out into actual traffic because it'll actually be safer for the way I can move. So I think they're becoming pretty popular everywhere, right? I mean, when we were in France, they couldn't build anymore. They're already all there. We were like, I was like, there are times when a four-way makes sense because me and Aaron were driving like out in the country, going to this like castle thing, and there was like a roundabout, and there was like
just nothing.
No cars, nothing else, farm fields. It's like, okay, come on. This could either be a four-way stop or, or nothing, but yeah. Yes, sir, officer, I saw the stop sign. I just didn't see you. Yeah, I think, yeah, for some reason they have become this, like, magic pill, and I think there's just a time where they make sense and there's times where they don't. Like, there's some roundabouts they put in that I like in my car and on my bike, and there's other ones that I just really don't understand. Should we do it from the couch, speaking JD's language now? Naptown, you said you've been riding fixed the last couple of weeks. You're out of practice. Yeah, I've told this story before, but I have a flip-flop hub on my single speed. And this bike I built up as like a straight-up commuter, like high sweep bars. It's just something that I could leave outside when I have to work in the evening somewhere, like a photography gig where I can't see the bike. So when I got a flat tire, I wasn't paying attention. I actually put it on the fixed side, and I didn't even make it out of my parking lot. Like the first few pedals, I was like, oh, I guess I'll learn how to ride fixed today. And then I tried to do it a couple more pedal strokes. I was like, nope, this is terrifying. So yeah, I've never learned how to do it. So I've had people slow down and let me through a roundabout, and it's even more that's even more annoying than helpful. Yeah. Oh yeah, racer. Yep. I like in most of the ways like that I interface with traffic, I just want cars to follow the laws, and I won't hold them up. Like when I say I run stop signs, I'm not talking like the way I ride my bike in New York City around here. One, you would die because cars just wouldn't stop; they'd just kill you. But like it's just also just not the etiquette around here. I also hear other YouTubers or other cyclists talk about this. Like, Terry said he doesn't go like to certain cities in Japan and then ride like he does in New York. It's just not what people do, and stuff like that. But most of the time, like if there are cars coming up to a stop sign and so am I just want everyone to follow the rules. I'm going to stop if you got there first. Like I'm talking about running stop signs and red lights when no one's around. That's how in Akron anyways, for me in my general area in the suburbs around here in the country around here. I'm just going to ride through anything when there's no cars. When there are cars around here, everyone just needs to follow the law. Like that's, I come up to a four-way, you got there first, just go. I'm already going to stop. You're not doing me any good. Unless there are those good people who like a ways ahead will flash their lights and they're giving you the symbol to keep moving. That makes sense. But that stuff's not universal enough to be, I don't know, reliable. So do you think it's safer to salmon sometimes? Well, it's funny because the last few videos and the next one coming out, I kind of in a way am because our Y bridge, and it's called a Y bridge because it's a literal Y and it's a one way and almost two bridges on one side, but they've closed the sidewalk and the bike lane and one of the traffic lanes as they're refurbishing it on one side, and you can't go down them at all except with the traffic, and cars drive like 45, 50 on this even with the construction going on, which is insane to me. But so I'm going down the other side of the Y bridge because the one lane is closed, but they're not actively working over there. But that's like a super rare case. I mean, and there are certain times where I'll like salmon into a wrong facing bike lane to get through an intersection and then wait for my chance to cross. But that's just like, there's not like a universal answer to that question because so situation dependent. I think it's way rarer that it's safer to be going the wrong way up a one-way street though. So I'd say in general, like, no, I don't think it's safer. But if you're saying sometimes, like, yes, in these couple rare cases I'm mentioning, yeah, I'm not gonna, me and Dylan accidentally salmoned up a street in the Bronx because we were following a GPX file to get to the OCA. and I would have rather not been doing that, So, but yeah, I'm sure someone else who lives somewhere else has cases where it makes sense, but I not around here. So, yeah, this is an e-bike friendly community. I've reviewed an e-bike on the channel. Dave just actually told me that he saw my dad on it today. So, but I am much more when it comes to bike pass. I am much more tolerant of pedal e-bikes. I'm not very tolerant of throttle e-bikes because I don't think those are bicycles. If you're just using a throttle, you're on an electric motorcycle, and so I just don't think there's a place for those on bike pass. I'm not saying they shouldn't belong in bike lanes in cities and stuff like that, but that's a debate other people could have. We don't have enough traffic, vehicular or cycling, that it's a problem for us. I know people complain about it in bigger cities though, with delivery drivers on throttled e-bikes and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm all for pedal assist, and I'm all for any electronic, vehicles. Everyone that's one less car, I think, is a good thing. I just, on a recreational bike path, I think you should be doing something to be on that path. Like I don't think there's a point of electric scooters on recreational bike paths and stuff like that. So, but again, if I was going to ride an electric scooter through the city, I would probably ride that in the bike lane as well, as long as I was a place where you're going to have good etiquette. And I said this in the last video, I had a real problem with a couple of e-bikers, and they have pedal assist, but they just came blasting by me without saying anything on a quiet trail. Other people called out that like cyclists do that too, and you got your real athletic dudes who come by in their aero bars and don't say anything yet. I'm just as mad at those people, for the record. It's just the proportion is way higher with the e-bike community because a lot of people who are riding e-bikes are new to cycling. They don't know the trail etiquette or anything like that. So that's one thing that I think will change over time. People will figure that out. Enough people like me will yell at them. I said, hey, you got to announce yourself. You got to say you're passing. They wouldn't even turn around and listen to me. So then I raised my voice and really told them again. But yeah, I'm totally all about anything that, gets people out of a car, and the more people that are on e-bikes, the more, there'll be a, what do you call it, groundswell for more bike infrastructure. So I had a lot of fun riding the e-bike, but I just don't really need it yet. It was nice. I got in the summer and I ended up using it on a couple really hot days to get to gigs, and it was nice just to put in a little less effort and not be sweaty on the climbs. But that's why I ended up giving it to my dad, because he's had heart problems, and he could still totally ride his bike fine, but he was saying how he just loves it, levels the hills, and then he turns it off even on the flats, and it's just one of those things that he's not supposed to get his heart working over a certain point. So I've also said for leveling the playing field, if you have like a couple or someone who's injured, there's a few people in the Discord who've been talking about this, but so you could still ride with the people you want to ride with. So yeah, but again, I'm more of a like when we're talking about like just like a towpath trail that's out there just to be enjoying nature, I throttle e-bike that's doing like 25, I don't really think belongs there personally. And I think in a lot of places you're not supposed to ride them, right? Well, you're not supposed to ride them at all at Hampton or Eastern, but people do.
Well,
the towpath originally,
yeah, on the mountain bike trails, no, you're not supposed to, and that's posted, but it's still, the rules and regs are still trying to figure all that out.
Because originally they were banned on the towpath. I remember when we were working at the farm, a ranger pulled someone over, but I don't think that's the case anymore.
Yeah, because we're beyond motorized vehicles, and that's the gray area.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, personally, I just wish the throttled ones were off. Roundabouts are everywhere here in Rochester, New York now. I've ridden in Rochester a number of times, but yeah, I guess it's just something that doesn't stand out to me anymore. They're just becoming so common. Maybe I just don't think about it. Benjamin said the farm field four-way where you can see so far in both directions you don't even slow down. Yeah, and same with a lot of neighborhoods. And again, I always try to tell people this because they just don't understand that the GoPro doesn't really show what you can see with your eyes. You know what I mean? It's like you just got such a better, like, it's a tunnel vision with the GoPro. Like, I can clearly see in each direction. And if it's not in my mouth and my head's not turning, I'm obviously turning my head. And if I'm crossing a big intersection, like actually running a red light, I'm looking in both directions completely. I'm not like, trying to, what's his name, Lucas Brunellet with the camera on my head and just following, and like I'm paying attention. So what do I think about Roundabout by Yes? If that's a song by Yes, I'm sure I don't like it because I can't stand Yes. Yeah, this is a funny thing too, Sam, that I just responded, and what's up, Sam, by the way, to someone who wrote a comment about like me rolling the stop signs. Like, I want to make a video where it's just like an hour of cars rolling through stop signs because I see it on every single ride I go on, and most of the time it's not even that dangerous. It's that like every driver, and they don't. I think most drivers don't even realize you do it until you tell them, and I can't remember if I've told this story on the live stream, but I lost my license once by just letting it expire for too long when me and Dave worked on the farm. I just forgot my birthday's in the summer, and then it got like a year, and then I had to retake my test. And when I went to retake like the driving test, the instructor was like basically just letting me pass, but she literally said to me, "You need to come to a complete stop at the stop signs." Even taking a test where I'm thinking about doing everything right, I wasn't completely stopping at stop signs. So
It's hard to do.
yeah, so
You
no
actually
one
got to put effort into it.
no one does it, but I watch like super egregious ones every day too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I watch people like slow down to 5 miles an hour. I'm like, that is not good enough in a car. Like, like if you're slowing down and almost coming to a complete stop where you can't tell the difference and you clearly see everything and go, who cares? But if you roll one at 5-10 miles an hour, no, like that's so. Also, like when you talk about like when drivers get on my case, like you broke some of the laws on your bike. It's like, yeah, you don't speed. Like, give me a break. So. What's that? Rochester loves a good roundabout. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Colby. When people complain about cyclists running stop signs, you always say, if you think that makes you mad, you should see drivers behind me when I come to a complete stop. And I've said that before too. It's like such a no-win situation. People just want to be mad no matter what. But I've said this before, like when I keep moving, I'm out of your way in your car, and that's all most drivers want. So it's like you don't get it both ways. You can't have me follow the laws and then be mad about me for being in your way. I 100% agree with that. So Seth from Burn Peak did a great video on the wonky classification of throttle e-bikes as bicycles. I'll have to check that out. I didn't watch that one. He had one about the mountain biking thing, which, like pedal assist where they're allowed, which I thought was pretty interesting because it's something I believe and I've used in other contexts where when other cyclists get mad about e-bikes and they'll tell them like one, it's always you're cheating, which doesn't even make sense. Like cheating against who? Like who you cheating? Like if you're not in a race, but that's like the broy guys who thinks everything's a competition, right? But the other thing he said is some people are like, well, you're not getting a workout. And like, I don't even understand. Like some mountain bike trails, you take like ski lifts to the top. Like, not that you don't get it, not that you aren't using your muscles and stuff. Like Pudgy will tell you going down some like those crazy enduro trails or whatever. But like most mountain bikers, like a lot of mountain bikers aren't out there to get a workout. But either way, who cares? What are you, their fitness coach all of a sudden? Like, I mean, like,
personal trainer?
Yeah, I don't understand that whole like you're cheating on yourself. Like I don't, whatever.
I think the intent originally was just to get out of the house, right?
Yeah, I'll never understand any of like the whole weird other cyclists hating on pedal assist e-bikes thing. It just doesn't make any sense. We have a lot of one wheels on the bike trails in my area. There's only like, I see like, well, I can't remember. One wheel is like the skateboard style one, right? But there's one guy who bombs around with the one that's like more like an old Segway, but now you don't have the handle anymore. That guy, and he's always, have you seen
all
that
decked
guy?
out, like
like
full gear.
Yeah, like something from Star Wars.
Yeah, he's going like 30 miles an hour.
That dude rips around. When we were in France, and this is already before the pandemic, we saw a lot of those and people moving around like that. I still don't see them too often here. Definitely more in like New York or big cities, but. Greg said throttle e-bikes are not allowed on Michigan Bike Pass. Now try to enforce that rule. Yeah, I mean, but enforcement is going to become an issue. And I think like right now, like a couple throttled e-bikes and a couple scooters on the towpath aren't a big deal. I think in 10 years, like, it will be something that will need to be enforced, and it'll be something that park rangers deal with because it'll become an issue. It'll become people want to go ride a bike and they're just getting blasted by people on electric motorcycles all the time. There will be, like with anything new, when cars started out, there were no traffic lights or anything. There was no enforcement when there was a few. They were a novelty, but pretty soon you had to regulate them. So it's just I think that's just where we're at right now. So, in my opinion, we'll see what happens. You never know, but I think that they're only going to grow in popularity. And again, like some point when maybe if I live long enough and can't ride my bike the way I want to, I mean, I would totally have one. I've said that in the videos I've made about them. I'm like, I didn't stop riding this because I don't think the concept makes sense. It's just right now, it's just not, I don't need it. I don't mind climbing and all that stuff. So, Slotty, you said you got pulled over last weekend because only one of you had a headlight and it was 1:30 a.m. Huh. Yeah, we've never been pulled over. I've had a police officer say something to me about the headlight thing, and it was like dusk and I just hadn't turned it on, but I was sometimes like, I don't know. It makes sense to have them on. I know people use them as flashers all day long, but I just think I'm more worried about the tail lights, like by far. Like riding without a tail light at night I'd be afraid to do it. Like I always make sure it's charged and ready to go. But there's plenty of times where I've had headlights die and it's no big deal. I mean, you can see what's in front of you and you need to be more cautious at that point too. You're like, if a car's pulling up to an intersection, even if you have the right of way and you don't have one on, you need to make sure they see you or you need to wait. Just like what I've said when I've talked about, like, I generally don't ride on sidewalks. I think it's more dangerous, especially in busy areas. But if you do in an area where you feel really uncomfortable, then it's all on you to make sure any car coming through that sidewalk sees you because you're not riding where you're supposed to be. So, same thing. Oh yeah, you don't have to tell me that there's a thing about some cyclists wanting to follow all the laws. When I made that video, it was like that. I think it probably hit somewhere on Reddit too or something. So there were drivers coming over and just being haters, but it was mostly like sporty cyclists that were being absolute assholes about like the way I was riding. It's because and they were calling me entitled, which I think is hilarious because we're talking about people who buy a $10,000 bike and then put it in their car and drive it out to the country and only ride it as a workout machine, which again, if that's what you want to do, I don't care, but then don't come at me and talk to someone who actually rides their bike from their house. Part of their point of riding a bike everywhere is also environmental and all that stuff. So like those people, they're the worst. And yeah, it's always the extreme ends. It's like these a lot of broy mountain bikers and then a lot of broy road riders who just don't do anything else but think of it as like a sport or a workout. I don't know. I just don't have a lot in common with those people. Colby said a throttle on a cargo e-bike class 2 is just nice to get forward momentum. Never use the throttle beyond that. Yeah, that makes sense. Even on the pedal assist, I found that I was using it kind of like gears from stop signs, and when I did get stopped at a traffic light, I would kick it up. So when I started pedaling, I could get up to speed faster, then dial it back down or turn it off completely. Definitely get that with a cargo bike, and that's why all this stuff's a little complicated, not as cut and dry. But Heavy Lock said, ironically, in regards to the e-bike being cheating, my neighbor saw me pedaling up our hill and told me I should get an e-bike as it would be much easier. It's funny because I've also had e-bikers say that to me. It'd be easier on one of these things. It's like, yeah, it would be. Easy's not what I'm going for yet. So. Throttle e-bike with 4-inch fat tires, full face helmet on flat crushed gravel towpath. Yeah. E-bikes will have massive enforcement. Yeah, and again, it'll really depend on where you are. I think, aren't they already talking about in New York making like a second set of infrastructure for like e-bikes versus regular bikes versus cars? I don't know if any of that has gone in yet. I read an article in the Times about it, and I don't know if it was just a proposal or if it was just something people were starting to bounce around the idea that there needs to be. And I think on that channel that what's it called that the guy from Propel Bikes does, I think he was talking about that concept too. So, but yeah, I mean, I do see throttle e-bikers around here too, who are people who just don't. I don't, you can't tell. I'm stereotyping, but people, it's their means of getting around. They probably don't own a car. They're not out for recreation, but they ride ones that go fast enough, and they do just ride them in traffic like normal, like motorcycles. So it's all over the place. Benjamin said the amount of throttle e-bikes and e-scooters blasting around a campground I was just at in Michigan was actually insane. So fast and silent. Did not enjoy it with your 3-year-old walking around. Yeah, I think what are they taking the place of golf carts now? Because there's that weird golf cart culture at some of those parks too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they are just kind of it's the next step of that weird. Talked about that before, the like living at the campground culture that I've never really quite understood, but. I wish cars had the speed regulators that e-bikes have. If you're ever out without a front light, you do the old phone flashlight in the front pocket of your flannel trick. Oh, yeah. Never thought about that. It's not the brightest, but it would make you be more seen. And I always say this too, like headlights for city riding, you don't generally need one. It's so you're seen, not so you can see anything. Like where I need a headlight is on like a dark towpath or a bike trail or something like that. I always said one of my favorite things is when we're on the bike trails after like a first snow and the moon's out and you just don't need any lights at all. And again, this has nothing to do with safety. It's just I love those kind of nights where you could just like see everything. But yeah. We need reform on trail etiquette. I just think we need it. I just think we need what already exists. Announce yourself. Announce that you're passing. Don't blast by people silently, right? That is the rules. I mean, those are like most places you ride on a bike path, at least somewhere, they're going to have that printed. Like, say on your left, stay to the right. Just, yeah. William, you said you have a pedal assist e-bike to tote your kids around and replace your car, but it doesn't replace your bicycles. Yeah, I have a number of friends who have those arrows and stuff like that, and that's exactly what they have them for. It's a car replacement. And they still ride bikes all the time. Actually, one of my by far fastest friends, and he's in the chat a lot, but haven't seen him lately up in Cleveland. He's like one of the absolute strongest riders I know, but he has an e-cargo bike. It's a totally different thing, right? Colby said research have found most e-bikes replace car miles, not bike miles. That's why that's what yours have done. No, that's awesome. I always said, like, I wish we don't have the infrastructure here for me to really do it. And I know everyone has their own excuse, but like right now, my whole car is loaded with photography gear that I need to get to a gig. And yes, I could put it into a cargo e-bike and I could try to make sure it's 100% waterproof, but there's also an element of bouncing around a bunch of sensitive photography gear over and over again.
Yeah, not even that, but I mean, you shoot in Cleveland a lot. You shoot, all over the place. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between being in New York and having to travel 2 miles up the island to, versus having to, I don't even know the mileage. Everything's in car miles, car minutes, driving 45 minutes.
And we don't have the public transportation because there are ways I could set up a cart and all that stuff to be able to get on a bus or a train. We don't have that here. I also have the thing where a lot of the places I'm going are just like industrial parks. There's no way to get to them. It's totally car centric. There's just, it wouldn't be safe. It wouldn't be, yeah.
I think it needs, in here, and probably a majority of places, it needs to be more geared into using your bike to go get groceries or run and get dinner, whatever it is, instead of replacing the car altogether.
Yeah. I mean, I would love if I could do it, but like, think of going over to like Home Depot.
Right.
That sucks. I do it sometimes on my bike if I need one small thing, but can you imagine trying to run the cargo bike over there? It would be
right.
The one reason I can do it on my bike is because I'm so nimble. Like, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's. I would love to not have a car. I also don't even think winter is an excuse to, like, I could ride my bike in the winter, but again, what do I Like if they don't clear the road, they don't clear it. They definitely don't clear the shoulders. Like that is not a priority. So if I had to, so say I am taking a cargo bike with photography gear, then I have to be out in a salty road with the traffic. It's just not practical here. Public transportation or better bike infrastructure would have to happen first. So and it would be kind of practical if I didn't have to haul stuff, because I could, the money I could just spend on taking an Uber if I just needed to get from point A to point B would be cheaper than owning a car.
Mm-hmm.
Just those occasional trips. So I wonder if self-driving cars would be good enough to actually cut down on the number of crappy asshole drivers on the road. Yeah, I don't. They talk about, like, I mean, I've seen these like visualizations of a system where every car has this kind of stuff and they could kind of work together. Hey, guess what? Why don't we actually link them all together, put them on rails, and then that's a train? Like, it's just like it's just another way. It's just and I'm not even like the biggest anti-capitalist in the world, but it's just another way to sell people stuff instead of doing the solution that makes the most sense, which is good public transportation. And in places with good public transportation, cars still exist. They just don't need to be as numerous. They are for that. They're for deliveries and stuff. The occasional hauling big stuff. There's places in Europe where people share cars or share trucks and stuff like that. Joe Lyons said, you commute to work with a bicycle or an e-bike. The e-bike takes way less energy, so I have more energy at work. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying about, like, in the heat of the summer when I rode the e-bike to a couple gigs. It was really nice not to show up like a complete sweaty mess. And my case is more unique because I am a freelancer, but if you work somewhere, I know, like, I have friends who work somewhere where they're able to get to work and take a shower and stuff like that, but, solve some of those problems. But that doesn't work for me when I'm showing up at, every random place I go to, which Darren, I'll let other people in the chat hopefully answer that question. I get all my bikes used, but yeah, and I also don't like hydraulic brakes. I think you're looking at like a list there when you say sub 1,000 that you're going to have to give up on one of those things. Lightish, not going to happen if you're also going to get, hydraulic disc, tubeless ready, all that kind of stuff. You're jumping up over the $1,000 mark right there. But I can't think of bikes sub 1,000 that have hydraulics. But someone else will probably throw something out there. But when I think of sub $1,000 bikes, I think of state bicycles, I think of Fairdale bicycles and stuff like that. But yeah, you're going to take a hit on components, but those can be upgraded later. So, I would, if you want to go sub 1,000, I would rather get something that was like a nicer frame, and then I would worry about like upgrading to better components later. And again, I'm not the expert on this. This would be like totally pathless pedals domain and stuff like that. But a lot of stuff would come tubeless ready, but they wouldn't come tubeless. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone else in the chat has a good answer, but like I said, I'd look at State and Fairdale and brands like that. Clunky, you said, Clunky, with your new job, you work one day a week in the middle of an industrial park.
Super chatted $20. I have been becoming warmer to the European e-bike standards. Watts, top speed, and mass are all safety factors. There are a lot of kids on e-mopeds out here.
Grimple, thanks so much for the $20. Jeez. Yeah, that right. They are pretty serious about the standards there, right? With e-bikes aren't they just pedal assists, right? They're not. They don't even consider them e-bikes if they're not. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've watched some of that, but yeah. Thanks again. Yeah, and again, I mean, we'll talk about self-driving. Something it's already regulated, but I think would have to become even more heavy regulated as everyone's in one. MKBHD did an interesting video down in Austin, Texas, where he took the Tesla Robo Taxi, is that what they call it? And then also, who's the other main e-taxi company? Do you know their name?
No.
I can't believe I can't think of it, but they were originally in San Francisco and they launched in Austin not too long ago. The interesting thing about the Tesla ones is Tesla still keeps a driver in the car and he has his hand like on a kill switch the whole time. So Tesla definitely does not trust their self-driving that much. The other ones are completely driverless. Someone also put the name in the chat and I can't think of it right now. Andy said Momentum Voya is on sale for like 1K, limited tire clearance. I'm guessing he wants decent tire clearance from the way he described ATB and hardtail. So.
You talking about Waymo?
What?
Waymo?
Waymo. Yeah, Waymo's the other cab company. Yeah. People also post TikToks and videos of those things like crashing all the time. So.
Right.
Surly has their Gen 1 skid loader on sale for $3K. That's a cargo bike thing, obviously not the sub $1,000 thing. Can I explain SPD cleats? And could you put? No, I can't. I don't use any clipless shoes. I can't explain them. So I know the word. I hear SPD. I know there's like Shimano style or whatever. But yeah, I don't. No. And can you put a pair on MTB shoes? I don't want to speak when I don't know the answer, but I think you just put whatever cleats you want on your shoes, right?
No.
No. Okay, then no. I have no idea. I've never ridden clipless in my life. I probably never will at this point. So. Andy, you said e-bikes are also just great in summer heat. You did 3 hours today in 100 degrees. Yeah, like we were saying at the beginning of the stream, here it's finally cooled off. It's been like the hottest summer I could remember. And said I always say you can only in a 4-season place you can only complain about one. You can't complain about summer and winter. I think this year we were able to complain about both though. Winter was brutal and summer was brutal.
Summer was brutal.
It was like 90 and humid like almost every day. It was crazy. And again, I don't mind when I'm out on my bike. It's almost more when you're just doing normal stuff. But I think we're getting the cat back. Yep. Here he is. Edmund. Mr. Natty, what's up? Said he likes to pick up strangers when he drives around and pretends he's an Uber driver. I'll get you one of those little Uber lights. How do you get those things? I'm sure someone's selling them on eBay. Kona Rove, yeah. Again, you'd be over that grand. It's hard to get. I'm trying to think. Check out. That was Darren, right? Check out. Go to like the Bike Sauce channel. I know he's reviewed a couple sub $1,000 bikes that he really liked. So the channel's called the Bike Sauce. So just search that on YouTube. I would check out because he does full, really in-depth reviews. Talks about everything that's a compromise, everything that's not a compromise. And I know over the last 6 months he's reviewed a couple bikes that were sub $1,000 that he was really impressed with. Again, I doubt the hydraulic brake, but I don't think you want cheap hydraulic brakes, you know. I think you're better off with upgraded mechanical ones or, again, just waiting till you can spend the money on better ones. Bad brakes are bad brakes, you know, no matter what persuasion. And so, persuasion. No matter what flavor. So.
Cash super chatted $10. Here is some cash for Edmund's college fund. Or treats. It's up to Edmund.
I need to try. I will take that. Thanks so much, and get Edmund some different treats because all of a sudden he stopped liking I could tell he wasn't as crazy about the one brand I had been giving him as treats for a while. So I started to buy a different one, and he loved it. And now there's a bowl full of it down here. He's just not touching it. So try some new treats for the Edmund. Okay, yeah, Dog Fan Primos is one that I saw reviewed, and I think that might be one that even the Bike Sauce reviewed. A couple of you guys said that. So yeah, I would definitely watch some YouTube reviews of anything you check out, though, especially if you're not going to buy it from a shop, so you're not going to get the chance to ride it. I would want to know as much as I could. Everyone knew Waymo, yeah. I'm surprised how many of you knew that. I thought the only reason I knew it was because I watch way too much like tech nerd stuff, but. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. The e-bike gets you further. a bit faster, not actually lazier. And yeah, and I felt that too because when I rode the bike, I just pedaled harder and went faster. You know, it was like I was pedaling like I'd be doing 15, and then I was able to do the 20 or whatever it was, whatever that one was capped at. So 42 is a Fit the Voya. Gotcha. Yeah, 42 is kind of like the minimum I want on anything now. My rally actually fits those 44 Renaires, but I'm running a 44 in the back and a 42 in the front. But yeah, I could do most of what I want on that bike, and then I do stuff that, I mean, I've mountain biked on that as well. So SPD pedals make good bottle openers. Oh, Andy said road and MTB cleats have different bolt patterns. I did probably know that, but information I don't need to retain when you don't use that stuff. So, this Couch. Yeah, thanks again, Couch. It's interesting. I'm able to heart and also thumb up the super chats, but since I have it when I click on a chat, it makes it come up and go away. It's really confusing for me. Catnip. He's got some catnip left from actually Nate the Great. So he's still got his catnip. Last night I put some catnip down, but he like went and sniffed it, and then he just started playing like a maniac before he ever like really got into it. Sometimes he like laps it all up. Are the Journeyers? Journeyers are sub 1,000. That would be a highly recommended bike too, as I know Pudgy loves them. And but during the pandemic, like Dirty River sold those things like crazy. Like hotcakes, as they say. SPD is a rash you get when you go off with an English bird. I can't do accents, Mr. Natty, but it's funnier also for me to listen to that in your accent. Costin? Bike Erie Costin. Well, you definitely remind folks that cars got this way not because of lower cost and consumer choice or superior technology, because of criminal corporate conspiracy and massive government money. It's 100% true. Car companies in a lot of places bought up the streetcars and closed them down. So, yeah, nobody ever stopped liking streetcars. So, BB7 fan here, and I would set up all my friends on even the cheapest hydros just because they self-adjust. Okay. I've never been a fan of the cheapest of everything, but different strokes. I've had mechanical disc brakes that are worse than rim brakes. I'll tell you that much. bad mechanical disc brakes are bad. So I see you retracted your message, Donald, but what's up? So. Talking too much about fixed gear, but you think that being back on that bike means getting used to SPDs and clown shoes again. Think you prefer flats for most stuff? Yeah, isn't that why a lot of fixed riders will use straps? You know, like, so you don't have to deal with the clipless, but you still get that, like, you know, being locked in you need with the fixed gear. So. I've had this on Top Chat all night, but I don't think I've really missed anything.
No, you're not really missing anything.
Jameis Renegade. Expat underrated. Nobody really sells Jameis around here, so I don't really have a lot of experience with him. I think Blimp City does, but yeah. Jameis and Kona are two like real popular brands that are just you don't see a lot of in Northeast Ohio. I think there just must not be. Just the shops I frequent just don't sell those brands. We should all super chat some money so Tim could get some quality hydros. I've ridden top of the line SRAM hydros on one of Otis's bikes, and they were great. But like once I put on like the Grotech brakes that Velo Orange sells, the mechanical ones, they're so good that I don't have a reason to deal with hydro because. Any way you slice it, hydros are more of a pain. I'm also hoping to eventually travel with my bike a little bit, and so that's just even harder to fix in the field. Like I know, like, and again, the modulation and everything on these, they were mountain style, but they were awesome. But my brakes are good enough that they do whatever I need them to do, and then I don't have to deal with hydros. So that's just, it's my opinion, and it's not, and I'm not saying that that's right for everybody. I'm just saying for me, I'd rather deal with, there's such good mechanical disc brakes out there that if you don't want to deal with hydros, you don't have to. Also, I don't think really good rim brakes are bad either, because I have some bikes with amazing rim brakes, and I've never even used like modern top of the line like dual pivot or anything. Or dual pivot? What's the ones with direct mount, which are probably even better than like I have 9-speed Dura-Ace rim brakes on a bike that stop as good as almost anything I've ever used and have plenty of modulation. But Benjamin said, I know Waymo because they were protesting in LA. They would call for a Waymo ride and then burn the car when it showed up. Is the Bridge Club under $1,000, Pudgy? Like just a stock build at the Bridge Club? That'd be a highly recommended bike if you're looking for an ATB gravel bike. I thought they were a little more pricey than that, but Shimano MT200s, never used those. Oh, Donald. Yeah, Donald is just in town or in the area from Cincinnati. So, yeah, I know Nate the Great rode that section before it was even open, but that's awesome that it's open now. I didn't mind the roads out there that much, but it's still bike trails. It's nice to have, especially for people doing a bike tour. Same reason why passenger rail is so weak in this country. Yeah, I always love the conservative argument about like passenger rail, like it doesn't make money, like the freeway makes money, like when you pave 77 it makes money. Like what a stupid argument. It's like roads cost money, roads cost a ton of money. Like who cares if Amtrak makes money? Like that's what is that? It's a public good. That's what taxes are for. We pool our money to have public goods. Your trash, the company that the city, when they come and pick up your trash, that doesn't make money. You know? Your water doesn't make money. It's a public good. You know. To be fair, cars can be awesome. It's the drivers that suck. Well, yeah. But in general, cars have been one of the worst things that have ever happened to the planet. I mean, it's for the record. It's global warming and all that. But yeah. I mean, I own a car. I'm a car owner. That's one of the things, too, when I do make a rant and everyone comes at me, it's like, I drive a car. Almost everyone I know owns a car. I know very few people who I ride with that don't also own a car. Most of them drive it very rarely or as little as possible, but like I said, where we live, it's not very practical not to own one. Benjamin, I commute daily on fixed gear with flat pedals without any problem, but you use a front brake. Yeah. Couch said you ride fixed, you use straps, clipless, nearly destroyed your knees. Yeah, I have my old Trek 500, which I used to ride a lot. It's not fixed or anything, but I have like a pair of those Mesa, what's the name of that brand? They actually make fixed gear bikes too. The Mesa, they're the Gates pedals. What's the name of that brand? Fixation. Yeah, and I love them on that bike. And also with like straps, they're easy to flip over if you just want to be on the flats for a while. So. It's already 10:09. I said we were going to do an hour because I've got to get up. I always hate saying get up early because there's always going to be people who get up earlier than me, and I also used to have to get up at 5 in the morning to work on the farm. But and I was only able to get up at 5 in the morning because I only spent 10 minutes getting ready. But yeah, I do have to get up early, and I do want to head to bed. I'm going to try and burn through the remaining comments and get going because. One of the things too is like I can't really sleep through my like morning gigs. Like I'm totally in charge of what I'm doing, you know? So I have to go take a portrait at the hospital. A group of surgeons and people in the surgery department. Probably gonna have to set up a few lights and stuff, and then I'm going to a video shoot, which really requires me to be with it because then I'm messing with audio. Probably gonna use multiple cameras and all that stuff. Anyways, not that anyone cares about that, but. Darren, you said the surly karate monkey. The Karate Monkey's more of a. Isn't the Karate Monkey still more of a mountain bike though overall? Like, just kind of a rigid mountain bike. Just depends on what you're trying to do though. Yeah. If you're going to be going really far, you know. Your SPDs have enough float that your knees haven't been a problem. Yeah. I think also you just if you run clipless, you just really got to have your fit dialed pretty good, right, to protect your knees, right? SPD is what we did at the raves in the 90s. Hey, what's up, the Winter Steiner? Good to see you, even though I'm about to jump out of here. Cool stop pads make almost any rim brake great. Yeah, I still have I have some cool stops on some pretty bad rim brakes. That old truck I'm talking about, it has all new components except the brakes, and that they suck. Yeah. Aren't those equal brakes like $350, them Dura-Ace prices? Yeah, they're expensive. They come with everything you need. They're still cheaper than clampers, but I have a feeling that they're going to last forever. They'll like outlast the bike you put them on and stuff. So, yeah. If aesthetics are important, they look cool as hell too. Which I'm more of a function guy, but they are cool. But yeah, they're expensive. But how much is it going to cost you to keep servicing hydros? Do you do it yourself? Do you take them to a shop? Right? I don't know. Stuff all adds up. If you buy brakes and they don't last and you have to get them fixed, you know. I'm thousands and thousands of miles on my 2 sets of Grotex with no issues. So, and they're super easy to adjust. So again, I don't have to mess with the shop. It just depends on, you know. I would never say everyone needs to go out and buy like brakes like that. If you could skid your tires, your brakes are adequate. Yeah, to a point. I do think like for certain riding, modulation is important and slowing down is important. You don't want to go from nothing to a full skid on every, you know, but a lot of brakes you could dial that into. Grotex are sold as a pair, and they do come with everything you need, except the they call those like the spacer things, the things that hold them on. But so for high-end mechanical brakes, they're a deal compared to, you know, BB7s or what Tektros or stuff like that. They're not. So, like I'd say, I do think they're more than just bling, though. I do think they're really good. So. Drew, if you're looking to make videos, I would start with what you have, to be honest, because what you'll find out is you'll find the limitations. Start using iMovie, and then when you realize I can't do this, then start, you know, searching around. But DaVinci Resolve has a free version, so that would be my recommendation if you already know you want to do more than iMovie can. So use the free version of DaVinci Resolve if you really like it and you want more features. You can upgrade to their Pro version. So I don't use it. I'm a Adobe guy, but that's because it's already what I know. So, and I also do video editing for a living, as I mentioned. I always say that to anyone who wants, if anything you want to start with what you have. People tell me like, I'd like to get into photography. You have 4 cameras in your pocket already. Like, start there, you know, like, don't go buy a $3,000 camera you might never use again. Oh, awesome. Yeah, what's up, Yinzer House? Loved seeing your stories from the Oasis show in Toronto. So, Benjamin said 4,500 miles on a used bike and you've never had to service your original 105 Hydros. Nice. That's awesome. Hey, Don, what's up? Caliper adapter was the word I was looking for. Hey, what's up, Dennis? Yeah, I didn't start on a Mac, so I never would have learned Final Cut. I just switched to Mac 2 years ago. But, yeah, I'm definitely not going to... There's things about Final Cut I know I wouldn't like from the way I've learned to edit in Premiere. But I'm not... Again, whatever works for anyone is the way to go, you know, with bikes, with cameras, with editing software, with any of that stuff. All right, dudes. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Glad we got the stream going after some initial issues. Again, I never asked for this, but if you for some reason are not subscribed and you found this, subscribe. Let's show the Trumpers that yeah, we're gonna replace them. Isn't that what they call it? Isn't that what they think we're gonna do? Like, weren't they chanting that in Charlottesville?
You will not replace us.
Yeah, like, replace. God, what crazy lunatics! All right, dudes. Peace.
Okay. Okay, bye.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is not
Fitzwater photo.